Saturday Night Racing League is ready to bring flag-to-flag coverage live here on VSPEED. 2.5 mile, 31 degrees of banking, opened back February 1959. Coming by the lead lap number 1, Jeff Wright by about 0.02 of a second. Gets that lap led. Across the line, Bailey Turner with 2 tires is going to get the victory.
Michael Sturgill is going to steal the win at Kentucky in unbelievable fashion.
All right. Gentlemen, start your
Crossed on the bottom, looking for his first career win on Saturday night. Pushed by Ryan Carlisle. Bailey Turner on the top. At a turn number 4 they come. That's fun. Turner's getting the push. There goes Cabin for the win. He gets blocked below the line. There's contact, but Bailey Turner will cross the line first.
Live from Michigan International, it is the Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors.
Where does Reggie Ortega go? He doesn't dare 4 wide, does he? They're making contact. 24-48. With 3x3 in the turn number 1. There's 5 laps to go.
Jeff Wright's going to benefit from this if he can keep it off the wall.
He went to the middle again. There's no room for it again. That's going to hurt Jeff Wright. Push him up the track. Jeff Wright fades back.
It's over. Jag Klinger's going to claim chase race number 1 from Michigan. Live here tonight on VSPEED. It's the Monster Mile here in Delaware.
Ball hard, no miss. These dry mind, no test. These whip glide like
No, it's a Klinger. Bailey Turner's crack. The 24 is destroyed in turn 3. Carlisle and Stravato came together.
And Adam Cabin is checked out. It looks like it's all over. The 17 on this new update finds another way to victory lane. The 17 of Adam Cabin is your winner at Dover.
Oh!
Happy acts. Nailed.
And he's still side by side somehow with Bailey Turner. It worked out for him. But Josh Adams trying to do it here at Iowa. This would be his 2nd win of the season. Klinger and Turner side by side for a second. It's going to be a battle to the line, but it's Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa.
Here we go, live from Homestead. It's Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors, Season 4 finale. They're going to go 3 wide for the top spot. Adams dives it to the inside in 3 and 4. Klinger on the high line. Hero's just trying to hold on to it. Off of turn 4, the final time. Ryan Carlisle is going to find his way to victory lane. Bailey Turner holds on to become the 4th champion of the Saturday Night Racing League.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers!
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Rock and roll.
You just witnessed the Season 4 recap. We've been playing that video on repeat, and it's to set up the suspense for what could be another repeat champion here for Saturday Night Racing League. It's week number 10, only 3 races left of the regular season, but live here tonight from the track Too Tough to Tame, it's going to be the Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors. The Cup Series action continues on a racetrack that is going to be very difficult to pass on. And we're in a car that has over 900 horsepower here tonight. Bradley Cooper and Connor Horn in the broadcast booth to join you live here on VSPEED. Connor, this racetrack, I tell you what, the egg-shaped oval, it's got a lot of unique characteristics. But one unique characteristic is you're guaranteed at some point in this race to get a stripe on that outside wall.
You just can't escape it at a track like this. You have basically really only 2 lanes, not even 2 lanes for racing. You have 2 lanes for driving maybe at 80 miles an hour on the track, but if you're racing someone on this track, there's really only one groove on the racetrack. Low end of a corner, right in the outside wall, through the center, and then back down to the bottom for the exit. Mainly, that's what you're going to do in turns 1 and 2, a double apex of sorts, but you're going to be around the bottom in 3 and 4, but you can get that wall, and like you said, you will get a stripe tonight. You cannot escape it. 23 to 25 degrees of banking. It varies both ends of the racetrack. Completely different sets of corners with the banking on the front, and a track that's not very sensitive to throwing yellows. If you wreck below the racing surface, that yellow will not be triggered, so you got to be careful about that tonight. A lot of drivers are going to struggle. We've only been here twice. We've been here once in this series with the Gen 4 car. Adam Cabot dominated that race. He won't be here tonight, but we might get our 3rd different winner at this racetrack. Last time we went here was Season 3. Jeff Wright went the victory lane, and he looks like he could do it again tonight. He led all but 3 laps in Season 3 here.
Will it be a dominant performance from the 48 tonight, or will we see a new name in victory lane? Challenger Series found theirs with the 75 of Chuck Sweeting in this 75th race. Still love saying that statistic and even echoing over here to the Cup Series. Congratulations to him. Taking a look at the points, though. What I was talking about there with the Season 4 recap, Bailey Turner on top of the points, 47 ahead of Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright needs to have that dominant performance that he had last time we were here if he wants to make up any ground on that 24.
I know on Sim Racer Hub it says top 12 make it to the chase. We have that line under 16th place. But if it is top 12, it's Chris Hodges who's the last one in by 9 points over Elliott Butler. Ferrata, he's finally making his way up in the points after last week at, I believe, Iowa. He got the 14th position with that. He has that win at Charlotte in the bank. He's right outside the cut line, but he still has about 23 points to go in only 3 races. And Bailey Turner still leading those points, but it's hard to argue that Jeff Wright is having maybe the best season out of anyone at the top right there. And Joseph McWhorter in 5th. 45th so close last week, led laps, just couldn't quite close the deal. 48th's a tough one to beat.
They've all been tough to beat. Previous season champions, with the exception of Joseph McWhorter. He's had a bit of a slump since he got that championship. And so he's still trying to kind of rebuild what he had there back previous season. And that was season number 2. And then you have, of course, Joseph McWhorter and Bailey Turner. But 4 different champions. Will we see a repeat? It's still too early to tell. Take a look at our race analysis for tonight. 140 laps. And we were talking to McWhorter in the pre-race. It's about 54, 55 laps here on fuel. You could probably stretch it out a little bit further than that, but 45 miles per hour on pit road speed limit. This is one of the hardest pit roads, with the exception of maybe Iowa and a couple others, to get on and off of. You're going to start your entry almost to turn 3.
And it's one of the only few pit entries where you can kind of take different lanes. You can stay on the racetrack in turn 3, then cut it down late, but you have to get under that small, tiny orange cone. It's really only a rule that applies at this track, but you got to get under that orange cone. Or you could enter before turn 3, get to the inside wall, and just wrap that around the rest of the racetrack to get to your pit lane. You'll see 2 distinct lanes at least and entering pit lane, and it doesn't even factor in missing pit entry. We'll see that, I'm sure, at least once.
Time to get to your grid. M&J Distributors in the Cup Series here for Saturday Night Racing League. Starting on the top spot, it's Seth Hatchell. A 29.438 to put it on the top position. He beats Chad Klinger by 0.04 of a second. Row number 2 goes to Dakota Floyd. Joshua Banks going to start in the 4th spot, and then go back to row number 3 with James Lehman in the Nathan Ferrata in the 07. Starting in 6th spot, Jeff Wright. Trying to make up points here tonight. He's going to be a little bit deeper than you probably want to be here at Darlington. Kenny Kibbe in 8th position. Rounding out your top 10 here for this start, it's Andrew Tonganoff in the number 3, Angelo Horonis in the number 29.
Starting position 4 for 3 car. 11th position is going to be Ryan Carwell on that 71 Ford Taurus, former winner in this series, as well as Bailey Turner. Still trying to get used to this Gen 4 car, but he still leads the points by over 40 over Jeff Wright, but he has work to do from the 12th position. 13th position behind the 71 and 24. Yeah, 13th place, I believe that is Joseph McWhorter. He's almost top 4 with the other champions, but he'll have work to do from 13th. Ray Massey in the 14th position, starting position tonight. Nick Hapiak 15th, one of those juicy Spider cars we'll see all night long, alongside Bryce Calusa in 16th. Elliott Butler 17th at Taco Bell Monte Carlo. Philip Brewer, who's had some good runs this season. A new paint scheme from what I remember seeing 2 weeks ago. He'll start 18th. Donnie Kite, winner at Talladega last season, will start 19th. And Josh Adams, who's been in a bit of a slump, he'll start 20th next to his teammate.
29 cars to talk about here, with Casey Licata starting 21st, Caleb Weekly in 22nd position. Then you have cars electing not to take a time here in qualifying, with J.R. Shepard and Chuck Sweeting in 24th. 25th with Chris Hodges, Matt Chinoski in 26th spot. 27th, Broderick Baklavic, Brandon Wallace. And rounding out your field here tonight, Ben Lapter in the 64. It is a long, long road to get back up here to the front at Darlington. But the lights are off on the pace car. We're getting ready to go set racing for week number 10. The Saturday Night Racing League. No throwback night. Green flag underway at Darlington. Finger in the wall.
He hit the outside wall really hard. I don't know if it broke the steering in his car or what, but he immediately turned that dead left to get to the inside part of the track and avoid getting hit by anyone else. It's going to bring it straight to pit lane.
09 down pit road. He's had a rough season, but he has a victory this year in the regular season. It was always postseason that the 09 found his way to victory lane. Got a win at Phoenix there in season 3. But aside from his success here in the regular season, he's outside the top 20 in points.
I mean, outside that win at Pocono, which was a little fortunate, and I'm sure he'd say that himself. It just hasn't been a good season. It's one of his only 2 top 5s. He only has 3 top 10s total on the season. The consistency hasn't been there. Finishes haven't been there. That's why he'll likely miss the chase. I don't believe he's really in contention, especially going a lap down here and not pulling out of pit lane. He might be done for the night already, as meanwhile everyone else got through lap 1, turn 2 pretty well. Chad Klinger, excuse me, not Chad Klinger, he's out of it, but Seth Hatchell, he's gone. I mean, this is as big of a lead as I've ever seen in about 3 laps at Darlington. Second and a half up already.
I don't know what happened here, Connor, but he just shot out of a cannon. And it's Dakota Floyd and Joshua Banks fighting back here for second position. 1.7, 1.8. That clean air paying dividends to the A car.
We've been talking about it since the update, how important that clean air is. Well, it's not going to be any more important than it is at this racetrack, where you don't have as many grooves to work around that dirty air. Really only have 1 extra groove in 3 and 4 where you can get around that dirty air. Turns 1 and 2, you can't avoid it. There's nothing you can do about it. So if you're not in the lead, you're going to be struggling, and it's going to be hard to pass. Even that lap alone, he was 2/10 faster than Dakota Floyd in the second position, who's kind of holding these drivers up. Plus Chad Klinger pulling it off the wall from second starting position, I think definitely caused these drivers to lose a little extra time, as looks like Elliot Butler might have gotten the wall in the background, but he's kept it straight. But that 57's holding everyone back, and Seth Hatchell, kind of what we saw at Charlotte near the end, checking out.
Joshua Banks trying to complete a pass on this 57 car. We'll take onboard telemetry with the driver of the 35. The series sponsor here, Matco Tools and M&J Distributors. Banksy, the iRacer, on Twitch and YouTube. Go check him out as he tries to make his pass for second.
I think Floyd recognized he's faster, kind of going to give it to him here. Like we always say, you can get that driver in front of you arrow loose, but I'm not sure if you want to here. You get that driver in front of you arrow loose on corner exit, mainly out of turn number 2.
Where do you go?
You're going to go right into the back of the driver in front of you. There's not much you can do to pass here. You have to be very careful. It's going to take you, as opposed to maybe a normal 1.5 miles, that might take you maybe 2 to 4 laps to set up a pass. It might take you at least 5 laps, maybe up to 10 laps, and maybe even more than that. So you're going to have to be very patient. And it's not too long of a race, 140 laps, but the laps will get longer. The tire wear is high. We'll see probably 2 stops if it gets green to that point. But you are going to be working a long time to just make 1 pass.
Speaking of 1 pass, Angelo Horonis in the 73 of Joseph McWhorter side by side. This is in the top 10, position battle for 9th.
Another part of it. And McWhorter's going to get that 9th position, Turner to 10th, Corona's back to 11th. That's going to be another key part of tonight that you won't see at a lot of other tracks. The give and take is so important. Any other track, if you're side-by-side at turn number 1, well, there's a lot of room at most 1.5 miles. You can make that work side-by-side. You can't do that here. You go side-by-side at turn 1 at Darlington, you will put a car in the wall, and you will almost certainly have a crash. Same goes out at turn number 2. You will not make it side-by-side out of those sets of corners. If you are slower and someone gets to your inside down the front straightaway, give them the spot. You're not going to help anyone out trying to make that pass or not trying to hold up that driver. You lose probably more time side-by-side in corners here than anywhere else. If you try going too wide into turn 1 or out of turn 2, you'll lose a second at least of a car in front of you, and that's if you don't crash out of a corner. You have to be so careful, and you have to use give and take all night long.
Give and take, the name of the game, especially early here. 10 laps in, Seth Hatchell's lead grows to 2.7 seconds. Continuing to pull away Joshua Banks. Last time by, a 10th slower. James Lehman has worked his way up to the 3rd position, up 2 spots for the 05. And how many times we said James Lehman's name in the top 3 early in these races?
He's able to stay up there early in the races, but can he hold it is the main question. We've seen a lot of times that he won't usually be able to. 20th place last week after leading 39 laps. Did not catch all that race, but leads me to believe he had issues late in the race again at some point. And whether it's getting involved in someone else's mess or losing that track position himself as a 57 got sideways off the corner, battling with Jeff Wright. It's always been something with the 05. He could just piece a race together. He could get a good finish and maybe rack up a win by the end of the season.
I think this is a perfect camera shot to show how close they get to the wall coming off of these corners. Watch this here with the 35, a little wiggle here.
You don't want to be wiggling 12 laps into a run at Darlington. That is grounds for big trouble at some point, but he was fishtailing out of turn number 1 big time.
Dakota Floyd starting to lose more and more spots. Jeff Wright going by. Sorry.
I think that's why you saw everyone kind of losing big time to the 8 because of 57 just not really up to speed here. Lost a lot of time, lost more positions. That one to the 48. He's got at least a little bit of a gap to an 8th in Ferrata in that 6th position, but definitely trying to figure out the track after a decent qualifying effort. As I'm just still so shocked by the 8's pace. I know the 09 had his issue and the 57 was a little slower, but 3 seconds and 13 laps is pretty insane. I haven't seen a gap like that this early in a race in a long time.
Not in SNR.
It's hard to pull away from a field. In the old Cup cars, it was possible. In the next-gen cars, you really can't do that. And even in Gen 4 cars, we haven't seen that a lot, but this is impressive.
So far, so good for Seth Hatchell. 13 laps led, coming up on 14. Don't think anything's going to happen that would prevent that. It's go pretty deep in this field back to around Donnie Kite. Car in the wall.
He got pushed up. He got into the wall a little bit. So easy to do in the middle of 1 and 2. You have to run up there to get that big arc and get to the apex of turn 2 to exit the corner straight. You have to get that right side all the way against the wall. It's so easy to scrape it or even hit it.
Here's a Darlington stripe here out of turn 2. Last 15.
Up the track, dirty air. It jumps out a little bit right there, and he hits it pretty good. He's able to keep it out of the wall. He hit it a little bit on exit, but I don't think that hurt his car as much as it could have. But you're going to see that all night. That wall on the outside of 1 and 2, it's not smooth, which is weird. It's kind of like the bottom line in 3 and 4 in Chicagoland, where it's not fully symmetrical. It's going to jut out from what you're normally anticipating, and that's going to throw some people off, and you'll see more people hit the wall there because of that.
So you said it was a little bit different of a paint scheme, and I didn't disclose it to Jeff Wright, so I'll disclose it to you. VSPEED responsible for this paint scheme here tonight in the 44. The Grippo's Potato Chip Company from Cincinnati, Ohio, for Philip Brewer. I don't know what your take is on it, but I like it. His concept.
Oh boy, it looks pretty sporty. He's looking at a battle up ahead of him. Nick Hapiak tried to get to the right rear of Ryan Carwile, but then that put him at risk of getting passed by Ray Massey. And this is what you don't want to do side by side in turn 1. You lose so much time doing it. That's why the give and take is so important. It blows my mind when people are battling into turn 1, especially as a driver. Don't get me started on how I feel about it as a driver. As a commentator, it blows my mind. You got to let people by if they're faster. Look how much time they've lost to Angelo Hronis in 11th.
The whole group, accordions back together. Bryce Calusa, Ray Massey, Nick Hapiak outside the top 10, racing into turn 1. They lose over half a second.
That's exactly, I mean, you see it every time. I'm going to go crazy if I see it more and more tonight. I get it if it's late in the race, as there's cars sideways at the back, but they kept it straight. But you're going to lose so much time if you don't let that faster car by. It's just better off to lose the positioning on track. It's just 1 point. It might not matter to most of the drivers as battle for third. Jeff Wright's caught James Lehman, and they're going to be side by side. How about that? No more give and take here. Lehman trying to battle it. He won't be able to.
It's turn 1. You said you couldn't stand it, but sometimes the execution, maybe that give and take a little bit too.
Hapiak and Massey, they're side by side out of 2, and then you see how much slower they are out of a corner. The problem is it's really Ryan Carwile who's holding them up, and he's off pace. He is. What is the gap now? It's almost 3 seconds to Angelo Hronis. You can see how much it's bottlenecked this back half of the field. But neither driver can make that pass work. Every time one of these drivers tries to pass the 71, they can't make it work. The other driver passes them.
And this is where, you were talking about drivers getting into the wall. As the 71, I didn't mean to speak it into existence, but the 71 just tagged it. And that's where it can go wrong, is that exit of turns 1 and 2 bottlenecks the field again.
Ray Massey and Nick Hapiak are like, oh, cool, I didn't need to pass you. Bye. The same thing for Bryce Calusa. Josh Adams, they don't have to deal with that. I'm sure they're not upset with that at all, but now it's Elliott Butler, Philip Brewer, Donnie Kite. Now they're the drivers next in line to try to pass the 71, who's just off pace, bleeding spots, but that pass is so tough to make. 98 out of the groove. I believe he's in a throwback. J.R. Shepard, winner at Kentucky. Not the start to the race necessarily that he wanted. He's up 3 spots, but that's a decent amount at Darlington, but he's still got a ways to go as Philip Brewer slides on the inside of Ryan Carwile.
Outside this top 10, it's busy. 09 to Chad Klinger back out on the racetrack, 5 laps down. Started in second position. I think that's part of the reason why that 8 of Seth Hatchell got out to such a commanding lead at the start of this race.
Car shifting back there, some battling. He's the only driver a lap down, so if he was to get a flurry of yellows and stayed the only driver a lap down, he could get 6 lucky dogs. I'm seeing him 6 laps down. Chuck Sweeting, Challenger winner. I believe they raced it on Wilkesboro tonight. Also an old style track, but completely different. So doubt he learned absolutely anything in that race, but nice to get a win on the board for him. Just saw Dakota Floyd get by James Lehman for the 4th position.
We're right on board here with Caleb Weekly in the 13. He's riding back in 22nd position right now. Rough day so far. Got a solid effort over at North Wilkesboro. Was able to put up a 6th place finish. Weekly right around that cutoff mark in the Challenger Series. But here in the Cup Series, it's been very rough.
Play the tough go of things, involving a lot of incidents not of their doing. Telganoff just got by Kibbe for the 7th position, but Weekly trying to get through the field once again tonight. Not the best of qualifying efforts. Pretty much stayed where they started in 22nd.
See how much wheel he had to put into it off of turn 2. That's what every one of these drivers is experiencing here tonight.
Donnie Kite just got a taste of what dirty air and getting air loose off someone's bumper will do. He got way sideways off the bumper of Ryan Carwile and lost an extra spot to a 75.
The hype here in the chat. We appreciate all of you coming out here and tuning in to witness Seth Hatchell with a massive lead of 2.5 seconds over Joshua Banks. It's now 25 laps led for the number 8 car. He's loose, though. He's starting to feel the handling.
Saw someone sliding the rears out of through turn 3. I think it was Elliott Butler. He drifted through turn 3. And this whole bottleneck is not going away. This is the 5th position. Lehman's starting to fade. And Nathan Farada's there as well. But this is starting to bottleneck up as well. And Kibbe's got a little bit of front end damage. Not sure where that came from for the 14, but you can see the nose is kind of dented.
You'll look there to the inside by your points leader. That's Bailey Turner in the 24 car. He's trying to figure out a way around this 14 on lap 27.
And we're starting to see who pushed their stuff and who didn't. I was just going silent because I was looking at the gap and how much it came down for the race lead.
Yeah.
Joshua Banks got about a full second out. Last time by, he was 0.4 of a second faster than Seth Hatchell. And that time it was another 0.3. So that logic dictates to me that Hatchell got that lead. Well, he was driving really hard to get that gap, and he's starting to pay the price 30 laps in.
Last time by a 31.123 for your leader, 30.7. So we're talking about 3/4, give or take. There's a lot of ground being made up here by Joshua Banks. As fast as he got it, Hatchell might give it away.
Just looking at the fall off, Joshua Banks' fastest time was a 29.88. And last time by, he ran a 30.83. So that's about 1 second over 30 laps, which isn't really too bad considering how notorious this track is for eating up tires. Hatchell actually, you could see how much faster his fastest lap was, so you could tell how hard he was driving, and he's paying the price, and he lost over 3, now he's 0.3 a lap slower, so all that ground he made up, he's going to give up. And hey, if you're doing a 3-stop and bringing that extra stop into play, that's fine, but if you could just make the lap 45 to lap 50, that's a 2-stop from there if you just keep those increments up. I just don't know if there's enough fall-off for an extra stop to work.
Riding on board here with Brandon Wallace, and I didn't get a chance to take it on board with this driver. In the Challenger Series, currently running in 24th position, started in 28th, has the 31 of Shinosky, 16 of Butler, just in front of him. A couple spots up for grabs if he can keep it together.
Whoa. Saw Dakota Floyd have a big wiggle out of turn number 4. He has driven those tires off that 0.5. He just lost a spot to Andrew Telganoff, so now he's back to 6th and really starting to struggle. Brandon Wallace, not really struggling, but just doesn't have the track position. He's up 4 spots from the start of the race as I think I said Dakota Floyd. I meant James Lehman, but Floyd's been wiggling too. You can see him really working the wheel out of turn number 4. He's kind of all alone at this point, but it was Lehman that I saw sliding as Nathan Ferrata has big damage to the front end of that car. He slid off of turn number 2. Now he's damaged. He's had a big crash as Kibby's battling for position, but the 07's totaled.
Ferrata going to continue to race this car. He probably isn't aware that the front end's missing on it, but 19th position. Let's see if we can go back on the replay and find out what happened to him exactly.
He's struggling with that car. He's going to lose a lot of downforce, and he did it at a track like this. I think it's going to be out of turn number 2. Could not quite see. All of a sudden, I looked up. The 07 had no front end. Race with Bailey Turner. Loose. Oh, he just got loosed and
Caution's out.
Caution's
Donnie
out.
Kite and Nathan Ferrata. Back to the live shot. Ferrata off the racetrack. Donnie Kite involved.
That's 2 for the 07, span of 3 laps. Seth Hatchell's going to be happy about that. He didn't have to give up the lead. Ferrata immediately out of a session, out of the race, and Donnie Kite's got a damaged car. See on the replay, and oh, Ben Lafter got a big piece of it as well. It looked like Ferrata came off the wall.
Back this up one more time. We knew Ferrata had gotten to the wall. He had damage. His car's not handling the way he wants it to. If you go back to the 26 Donnie Kite and the 64 Ben Lafter, they're just hoping they can navigate through this.
I get a good view of what happened here. Yeah, 07 comes down off the wall, probably has steering damage because of how hard he hit the wall with the left front, so probably not used to that steering damage and dealing with it off the corner. Comes down, the car just kind of tracks down off the corner into a 26. I can't imagine he did that on purpose, just didn't have the stability in the car because of how much damage he had, and poor Donnie Kite, nothing he could do. Same for Ben Lafter's. Pit stops will happen under caution this round.
So about halfway through the window that we assumed these drivers would come down. Seth Hatchell leading them into the pits.
It's got to be infuriating for Joshua Banks and Jeff Wright. I mean, they were going to catch Seth Hatchell. Whether they're going to pass him, who knows, with this track. But they were definitely faster. But this is going to give Hatchell the reset he needs to go and do exactly what he did again and hope to get that yellow again. As Case Lakatos goes through pits, missed his stall. So he usually does that. Pit lane, going to be close. And I think Jeff Wright got the lead.
Jeff Wright took it over. Case Lakatos will have to come back down.
Uh-oh.
There he is.
That 35 car is going backwards.
Holding penalty for Joshua Banks. Speeding on pit road.
That is not the first or second time he sped either. That's been an issue of his. And Seth Hatchell has sped on pit road. So Hatchell's going to go to the back. So 2 of the top 3 get nabbed for speeding.
And that hands the lead over gracefully to Jeff Wright. He'll have Dakota Floyd, who started up here, back up to second. They'll go anywhere. More coverage to continue for the Saturday Night Racing League. Race number 10. Darlington coming back in just a moment.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Walking and rolling costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
We're back here live where you just witnessed James Lehman coming off of turn 2, and the yellow flag did not fly. We'll back this up a little bit here. Watch what happens. A lot going on. 20 car.
Yeah, Lehman got in the wall, and Kalusa just couldn't check up in time. Then Hapiak had a slide. Didn't see that at first. He made a great save, but 0-5 of Lehman got in the wall. Kalusa couldn't check up in time and hit the 0-5, and somehow he slid across the entire track without really getting hit by anyone hard. Looked like Ryan Carwell got contact right there, stuck in the wall. But then you'll see Hapiak did get hit by McWhorter. He did get a little bump for the 73 after he got loose. He made a great save. Lehman does a decent 360, gets some contact with the left side there, but that does not trigger a yellow. We talked about it pre-race. If it's not on the racing surface, it's not going to be a yellow. It's a tough part about this track. Look at Philip Brewer checking up. Don't know where he's going to go. Get to the inside. Wow. and Carwell did a great job.
I thought Brewer's on board would be good, but Carwell's probably even better.
And both of them came out mostly undamaged. Carwell has some right rear damage, but he might have had that before because we've seen him in the wall a few times. I was pretty concerned about Banks and Hatchell getting into that, but they've gotten through. They're 11th and 12th after their speeding penalties. Banks got ahead of Hatchell. And the most happy guy about those speeding penalties is Jeff Wright, because now he's unchallenged at the front with a 9/10 of a second lead.
Remember back to where we saw someone jump out to a giant lead. I don't think that's going to be the same this time. Jeff Wright dominant the last time we were here. Dakota Floyd seems to have figured out whatever the problem was to start this race off. He's not dropping as quickly as last time.
Check behind him in third. He got the 3 and 24 battle like old times for the 3-car Andrew Telkinoff. He's having a good run. Before that first yellow, he was running in the 5th position. Pretty fast race car, pretty fast good wrench number 3, which is what we're accustomed to seeing out of that number 3 car, but having a solid run so far.
Coming off of turn 2, looking back here at Bailey Turner, your points leader. Quiet day so far for the 24, but creeping his way up, 8 positions gained. Biggest mover right now for your Clark Print Shop biggest mover award. Looks like it's going to go to Josh Adams in the number 6 as it sits.
One of those cars come off the pit road. Couldn't see who necessarily that was coming off the pit road. I think it was Donnie Kite getting back in the race, so no one lead lap. Saw Telkinoff give the spot up to Bailey Turner. Like you said, Josh Adams is one of our biggest movers. He's up 10 positions. J.R. Shepard's up 9 positions from 23rd, so he'd be second on that list. Really, those are the 2 big movers of the day.
Bailey Turner getting around the 3 of Telkinoff. It's just a matter of time before he gets some more challenges with Dakota Floyd. Floyd a little bit off the pace that last time by, a 10th slower than everyone in the top 3.
You know what I'm waiting to see this season? I'm waiting to see the 48 and 24 go head-to-head. We saw that a lot in the past 2 seasons of the 48 and 24, having some battles head-to-head. Like we saw Richmond season 4, they really went head-to-head, but we really haven't seen that. Both of them have their wins, Bailey at Daytona, and Jeff Wright has 4 others to his name, but they really haven't been the guys 1-2 at the end of a race battling for a win yet. And most of that's because Turner still kind of struggling to figure out how he needs to go fast in this Gen 4 car instead of how he used to race the next gen car and how he races the next gen car. Completely different discipline, even though they're both technically cup cars, and it's something he's had to adjust to. He's been able to stay consistent enough to keep the points lead, but all those bonus points for wins Jeff Wright's got, it's only a matter of time until he has to figure out how he has to beat that 48 week in, week out once we get to our chase.
We keep talking about repeat champions with Bailey Turner, but Jeff Wright absolutely could be that guy from season 1. We have to go back all the way to 2022 to talk about that stat.
Which was the Gen 4 car, which he dominated that first season. He's still been winning races every single season since, just not as dominant as he was, but he just has his car figured out with the high horsepower. He knows how to save his tires. He knows how to keep track position when he needs to. He doesn't get out to usually too big of leads. This is a decent lead for even his standards if he's trying to save the tires, but he just knows how to get around these tracks in these cars, and it's benefited him greatly this season. He's staring down his 5th win of the season, although there's a long way to go, so let's not call that too early.
Looking at one of the closest battles on the racetrack, I can go back here to Josh Adams, Philip Brewer. Seth Hatchell just got by these drivers, back up to the top 10 for Joshua Banks. Seth Hatchell trailing just a little bit here. Wouldn't be surprised to see these cars back in the top 5 before the end of this one. But it seems like it's single filed out quite a lot. I'm looking for any kind of passes going on the racetrack. It's gotten quiet.
That's what a lot of drivers want. They don't want to be in those packed up groups that we saw at the first run. I'm honestly shocked that yellow didn't come earlier with how the racing was with Ryan Carwell, Ray Massey, and a few others. But drivers are perfectly fine with this because this is not a track where you want to race other drivers. This is the epitome of racing the racetrack, a track where you just have to figure out the track before you even bother trying to pass someone or let someone pass. If you don't know how to get around here, you're going to have a rough time. And this is a part of the race where everyone's kind of strung out. You can figure out what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, what you need to do better, what you're trying to fix. Stuff like that is what will make you a good driver at a track like this, where you can kind of learn on the fly as you're running laps instead of having to run session after session trying to figure out what the heck you're doing wrong. And you have those other cars in front of you or behind you can kind of learn from as well.
I've never seen this logo on a stock car.
It does look out of place, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't even know that I liked the logo on my shorts in grade school, but there you go. Haven't seen that in a while, and there's J.R. Shepard, one of the many winners this season.
That has been on a car. I did check. That is a throwback.
Wow.
Old Elton Sawyer paint scheme from 2001.
Wow.
So it has been on a race car. And it was on a Ford Taurus as well, so it's full immersion.
Connor, I'm glad that you are so quick on the draw there to figure that out.
It's the number font that gave it to me. It definitely looked like the font that I've seen before. I just saw Vak Lavick out on the wall. He keeps it straight, though. Don't remember if that was a Yates car. That 98 might have been a Yates car in the Busch Series. And 48 cars in the Cup Series.
For certain. And driving like it. In the
It's
Cup
a throwback.
Series.
It's a throwback every week. He ran in the Busch Series, too. He wasn't that successful in the Busch Series, funny enough.
The lead hovering right around 0.8 of a second. Again, Dakota Floyd has figured something out. Whatever his issue was at the start of this race, I got to pay respect to that. He fell through this field, got passed up really quickly, really early. Now he's maintaining this gap between him and Bailey Turner. It's 1.3 seconds back to the 24 car. Floyd has speed. We've seen that a lot. And with his success over the Challenger Series, we knew that he would be good. It's kind of like when you watch somebody come, you mentioned the Busch Series, when you watch somebody come over from the National Series into the Cup Series, there's always that hype, right? And I feel like a lot of times when you talk about somebody that has success and wins a lot of races over there, it's college football to NFL football or whatever other sport you want to compare it to. It's a different ball game when you get to the top level.
I think one thing that's helped in this run maybe as well is that he's been able to follow Jeff Wright this run especially. Maybe he learned stuff on the last run near the end after he burned his stuff off as well. But he's pretty much running Jeff Wright's tire track, seeing what he's doing. You can kind of see with the jolt of the car when he's getting on the gas, when he's hitting the brakes, what are his entry points, exit points. Is he aiming for a certain part of the apex to get in at any point? That's probably something he's figuring out while running as well. And he's probably learning from the best in these Gen 4 cars right now, able to tail him. He's been a tenth faster the past few laps. That'll probably go away once he gets the heavier air closer to the wake of that 48 car, but still definitely learned a little bit.
The last time by, he was about half a tenth slower, so give and take. I don't think you want give and take on the lap times. You want to get up there and try to challenge for this race lead.
Sometimes you can't help it. The way the dirty air is, you're gonna have to give time back, and then you're gonna take that back. It's a 5/6 of a second range where it starts really upsetting the front of the car, and you have to really get to their bumper until you start affecting them back.
Tuning to watch with the 48 of Jeff Wright leads some laps. Seth Hatchell trying to get by Bryce Calusa. This is for the top 10 for the 8 car. Joshua Banks and Seth Hatchell have followed each other all the way through this. It was Hatchell leading, both with speeding penalties on the exit of pit road. And they went from the top 5 back to around 18th, 19th position.
Telganoff, he just took 3rd place back from Bailey Turner. So just once again, Turner just doesn't really have that dominating pace, that never-ending pace that we saw in the next-gen car. He's just not able to have the long-run pace he needs.
Setting up the pass here out of turn 4, back on the replay.
And Telganoff had just caught him back, plain and simple. Turner started really struggling. You see him just not able to turn the car at all, really slow on exit. At that point, Turner knows he's faster, not going to bother fighting it. Jeff definitely still trying to figure out how to get this car hooked up, but he's still running top 5. It's not like he's running good, but definitely not what he's used to after last season.
He's kept it off the wall, though. That's the first part, is racing this racetrack. Connor, there's a few places we go to here in the schedule that's what you focus on. You don't want to get too involved in thinking about, okay, I'm going to race this car next to me. I need to finish in this position. Where do I qualify? No, you come out here and race the racetrack. You evolve and adapt to the conditions changing. With the weather here on the racetrack tonight only being 96 degrees, that helps a little bit to focus more on it. But you don't want to get too involved of thinking to that guy inside or outside of you.
There's not many tracks we go to where it's the racetrack you're racing before the driver. I'd say Dover's like that, Rockingham's like that. At some points, Martinsville can be like that, but not as much as the ones I already listed. And throw in a hotter track temp, and it becomes even harder. But that's going to continue coming down the more this race goes on, since we're kind of in a sunset pattern. And it looks like McWhorter just gave up a spot to Horonis for the 6th position. But it's the toughest track on the schedule, and it's not even close. And you need to run so many laps here to get good. I agree with what Kyle Petty said years ago. That it's better off putting a bunch of water in this track and fishing out of it. I've never been good here. I've somehow won races here, and I still don't like this track. I feel the same way about Bristol and iRacing. I love the tracks in real life, but in iRacing, I can't figure them out. And so many drivers just feel the same way. They don't have the track figured out. They dread coming here, but you just got to run laps and just get experience by just running laps, and eventually it'll click. I'm still waiting, but it will click for drivers at some point.
You can hit your head against the wall, or you can hit the car off the turn 4 wall. Eventually it will come together, though.
Ooh. So I got a pit stop. I think Josh Adams is coming to pit lane. This might be scheduled. It's pretty early, but it could be scheduled. We went green lap 36. This is a 2-stop from here. This might be on schedule. James Lehman's pitting. He's got damage.
30 laps on the stint here.
This is almost 6. This is almost still 3-stop territory if you're pitting this early, but We'll just have to wait and see what everyone else decides to do. Those are the only two to come down, and Lehman had damage that he was dealing with. But Nick Happy just had a little bit of a moment in turns 3 and 4. Lost a spot to Banks and a spot to Hatchell.
JS Studios, shout out to them and everything they put together. And the track animation that we had here today, every single track animation that we've had throughout the season, part of VSPEED's intro that was created by Adam Baker, re-rendered with a 3D car. You can check them out as well. Link in the description. Juicy Spider Studios, Juicy Spider Gaming. Great group of guys. Love talking with them and post-race. And they've also created the introduction to the Saturday Night Racing League. All of the graphics that you see there with the M&J Distributors logo that we put up on the screen every broadcast. They do phenomenal work. And it's more than just that. Hero cards and more. Juicy Spider Studios. Check them out. We ride on board around with Nick Hapiak.
Pretty sideways out of, I think it was turns 3 and 4. That's why he lost those spots to Banks and Hatchell, but he settled in 10th position. Still a decent run, but definitely losing touch with those drivers in front. Saw 73 Banks get by Joe's McWhorter. McWhorter now right in front of Seth Hatchell, and Hatchell's got a big run on him, so definitely looks like McWhorter hasn't kept his stuff on the car. And they were kind of at that 30-lap point that we saw Seth Hatchell fall off last run, where you get, if you drive your car too hard and you drive the tires off it, around 30 laps, you're done.
You're watching the 35 of Banks just ahead of this as Hatchell got around McWhorter. Now Banks going to go around with Kibbe up to 6th position. Wasn't doubting it for a second, almost back to the top 5 for the 35. He was running in the top 3, has the pace to be there at the end. He always seems to find his way back to a podium finish before these things are all said and done. And halfway through this event, Joshua Banks, M&J Distributors, and the Matco Tools 35 running 6th. Perfect opportunity, though. What do you think, Connor?
I think we'll just have to see what Joshua Banks can do. Starting to see some pit stops. Philip Brewer just slipped through his stall pitting. I saw Bryce Calusa pit, but we're about the halfway point. These drivers got to be on the racetrack so we can get a little bit loud.
Threw me for a loop here. Changing the strategy right around that halfway mark. Messing with me.
Yeah, they're messing with you. It definitely seems that if you're pitting now, you're probably 2 stopping to the end. I don't think you can make it 1 stop, but still got the race leaders on track. Haven't seen anyone top 10 yet to pit.
Coming off has pulled away from Bailey Turner by about 4 seconds now. Cars coming off of pit road.
Yeah, 4 seconds. You are right about that. I wonder if Turner is trying some strategy, or if he's just that far off the pace.
Well, let's listen here on the RPMs.
No, he's not clutching. He's not clutching. Not in that side of the corners, at least. Yeah, last time by he ran a 31.9, and then he just ran it. Then the last time by he just ran a 31.3. So I think he's definitely driven the tires off it and starting to feel the effects of it, because he's running 31.3s, and last time by Jeff Wright still running 30.9s. So similar to what we saw from Hatchell, where the tires are gone and he's hanging on.
Well, I got to wonder, we talk about clean air and being out front, how advantageous it can be. It probably feels like a false sense of security. You get out in that clean air, you have a lot of front downforce, and you can pull away from this field. But maybe you are burning the right front off this car, and Darlington is really notorious for having that right front burn off anyway. As you watch a move here with fresher tires, the 44 going to go by, and that's Angelo Veronis that's actually gaining ground on Bailey Turner. It was about a second. It's coming down a little bit.
You're seeing more people pit. I saw Joe McWhorter pit. He was right around that top 10. We saw him really fading, so he decided to come in early. I would think, we saw our last yellow. We went green around lap 36. So if you can go what we thought was about lap 55 around 55 laps on fuel, that would probably put you where you can make it on fuel with a one stop, but we're seeing a lot of drivers bail on that, so I gotta assume the tire fall off just a little bit too much that we're gonna see drivers two stop this. But I would think if you can make that fuel work, the one stop would still be the way to go. The times just don't fall off as much.
Let's put the positions gained or lost here on the left-hand side of your screen. Looking here with biggest movers of the race, J.R. Shepherd, 13 positions gained. Right now, he is your biggest mover.
Biggest mover. And let's see if he can try to keep that award. We'll take that banner right away from him if he doesn't stay up there. There's really no one too close to him. Jeff Wright's up 6, Bailey Turner's up 8, but he's fading. Chuck Sweeting's up 11 positions from 24th. Brandon Wallace up 10. And you got the guys at the bottom who haven't had good nights, like Chad Klinger, who's still running 5 laps down. Donnie Kite, who got crashed. James Lehman, after I think he got a pit road penalty, he's called it a night, so he's down positions.
And it's Jeff Wright now starting to show back to a while back where we had that season 44 laps led.
So we had another crash that didn't bring out a yellow. Chad Klinger was running 5 laps down still. He is now totaled on pit road, so his day is almost certainly done. Thing is toast. Did not see how that happened, but another spin that doesn't bring out a yellow. Happened at a turn 2, which is kind of a spot where it happens. Remember, he's running about 5 laps down at this point. See him coming to the screen there. Ooh, he got loose. And then I think Josh Adams got into him after he got loose.
We can find an angle here. Watch. Coming off of turn 2, tags the wall.
Right there. Yeah, he just lost it. And Adams, nothing he could do. We've seen that so many times this season already. And Klinger, next victim of that hard inside wall.
And Brian Chambliss in the chat. I would have pulled a no stopper and took the win. These guys are lucky I'm not there.
I don't doubt it with the fuel he can get out of his car sometimes. Bailey Turner, just saw him hit the wall. Looks like 29 Ninja Horona's going to get that 4th spot away. Joshua Banks going to get by him as well. So the driver with a speeding penalty who started tail end is able to get by Turner.
Turner's going to fight back here off of turn 4. Not going to be enough to hold on. If I'm Bailey Turner watching all these cars come down pit road, I think I'm next.
Yeah, but if you're trying to get to a one-stop window, you got to go at least 3 to 8 more laps. So you got to stick it out. And you've gone this far at this point. You can't really get yourself caught in between strategies, so you just got to stick it out. Meanwhile, Jeff Wright, he can do anything he wants. He's up to over a 4-second lead on the rest of the field, and he's into some lap traffic, but most of those guys had already pit. 24 is struggling.
Back to 6. Seth Hatchell going to be the next car in line to work on this. Kenny Kibbe 1.2 seconds back behind this battle for 6th position. The Capiak, J.R. Shepherd, the rest of your top 10. And again, shout out here to Andrew Toganoff. He's caught up to Dakota Floyd. It's less than half a second coming into turns 1 and 2. The all-black Intimidator number 3. Definitely showing speed here. I don't know what Toganoff's opinion of this racetrack is, but he seems to like it the way he's driving it right now.
Driving at the front like this, I'd say you definitely have to like this racetrack. And his times this entire run have been top 5 times. He's still not able to keep pace with the 48 because no one is. Jeff Wright's still in the 30 flats. Toganoff's consistently been within a 10th or 2 of him. And like you said, he's ran down this 57. Still not really in contention to pass him yet, but he's gotten to him in a hurry as Ben Lapter's kind of been pacing around the apron for a while with all that damage laps down.
Wasn't sure if maybe an incident happened here with the 64. You see him, he's still trying to clock some laps. He's the last car on the racetrack as Chad Klinger, James Lehman, and Nathan Ferrata have all taken an early exit here. We still have 26 cars on the racetrack. If you want to count Ben Lafter on the racetrack, he's on the racing surface.
He's on asphalt. That's good enough. And he's on the outside part of the pit wall. So, yes, I believe that counts as on track. About to have a battle for 5th. Joshua Banks has kind of caught Angelo Horonis. This has been a good drive up through the field after speeding for him, and he's put about a second on Seth Hatchell, who's had the same issue as Horonis hits the wall. This should make it an easy pass.
So there goes the 35 up to 4th. Seth Hatchell caught back here with Bailey Turner. Still hasn't figured out a way around him for a moment there, and he's in the wall into 1 and 2.
I think he drove his tires a little bit better this time, but I still think he's kind of left a little bit desired with saving the tires, as there is some trouble down the backstretch. Just McWhorter has big damage on the right side of that car. 73 to pit lane, and it's going to end his night. Could not see what happened.
He just came off of pit road a few laps ago.
Ooh, Sweeting gets loose. There's contact there, and I gotta say, that's pretty unlucky to break the right front.
That doesn't seem right.
Taking off pit from 3rd, but that's gonna end McWhorter's night completely. And Sweeting just got loose. It was awkward, but they should have been fine. I really haven't seen contact break the suspension like that in a while, but you could tell right when they made contact, the right front was completely ripped off that car, and that's McWhorter's night done, as Caleb Weekly, I believe, just missed pit lanes. Knew someone would do that tonight.
I think they should have threw a yellow for that tire rolling down the racetrack.
If you could hit it, sure. Can't hit debris. Ray Massey's pit lane. It's like Case Licata's pit lane. How about these intervals? I mean, Jeff Wright 4.5. I think I just saw another driver peel off the pit there, but it's a 15-second gap to J.R. Shepard in 10th as Telganoff comes off a pit lane. Caleb Weekly's in. Dakota Floyd, 2nd place. He's in. Jeff Wright shouldn't be too far behind, but he has the gap where he can do a few more laps and keep that lead.
There's Dakota Floyd. Banks will go by. The intervals.
Whoa, Elliott Butler. Sorry, saw him sliding. He saved it. That's a scary pit entrance. Yeah, he got there. It was eventful. Matt Shanowski's in as well. Whoa.
It's one way to get to the pit.
That's good for the drift competition. I'm not sure about the Saturday Night Racing League competition, but he did a good job drifting that thing. Banks is in. Kenny Kibbe might be missing pit lane. He kept it straight, though. Not like this. This is unbelievable how he kept this going. Chuck Sweeting has now spun on pit entry. He's backwards on the track, but it's not bringing out a yellow. This is chaos.
We told you it was one of the hardest pit roads to get on and off of, and that proves it right there.
He got the pit lane. Jeff Wright, I don't think has pit yet because he sees all this happening. He's like, someone's going to cause a yellow. Gets on the brakes, slows down pretty early, but gets to the flat. But then he's going to hit the transition, gets a little bit of banking there, and that's what slides his car. Then he overcorrected, hit that orange cone. I'm not sure if he's going to get a penalty for that or not. I don't see one, but he could have gotten one. But just crazy at a track like this, it's not going to be a yellow. But that's iRacing.
Sometimes it be like that.
It
Jeff
really
Wright,
do be like that.
Bailey Turner, Seth Hatchell, Nick Hapiak, and J.R. Shepard still on the racetrack. We've got most of the top 10, with the exception of Josh Adams, who short-pitted this strategy. He's running in 10th position. He's got his hands full, though.
Yeah, he might be on the two-stop strategy. I mean, he is. There's no way he can make it on fuel from the end. The guys who pit now should be able to make it, so Adams is hoping that the fall-off is high enough where the extra stop will actually get him a better finish than what he was going to get, as look like J.R. Shepard from 5th pitting. He's actually got a pretty good entrance as he is in pit lane. He actually cut the barrels close there as Hapiak almost got a boot there. out of turn 4. Here comes, those are what fresh tires make a difference on. Just saw Case Lacatus fly by the top 3 cars. Looks like Lacatus is pitting. Here comes Hapyak. Here comes Bailey Turner. That perfectly sums up pit entry here. You can run completely different lanes and still make it to the destination.
Left, right, down pit road.
I think he just probably ran out of fuel at this point, decided he has to bring it in.
Yeah, that was stretching the run. We were talking before the race about numbers, and 56 was the most I was given here tonight. 61 on the stint. A little bit of that under caution, of course.
Yeah, but I think the slower times, as the tires were out, definitely stretched the fuel a little bit longer for pretty much all these drivers.
And that cycles it all out with Seth Hatchell. He will be the next one with Brandon Wallace running in the second position. Brandon Wallace is 13 seconds back from the lead. The last of these 3 cars to pit with Broderick Vaclavic, who just got loose off of turn 4. Chases it back up the racetrack. Here's another throwback paint scheme for you.
Hatchell's in. See if Brandon Wallace follows. I don't believe he is, so Wallace will lead, but he is struggling off of turn number 2. It's the 4th or 5th time I've seen that 87 struggle. I think he's going to bring it to pit lane.
So Brandon Wallace with his first lap led for 28th position to the top spot. Car on the wall, that was Brewer. Another Darlington stripe.
I have seen him have a few tonight. He's actually going to bring it to pit lane. Oh yeah, that's a pretty square hit. And I don't believe... Yeah, he had pit around lap 70, so... This could be scheduled. This could be him calling it a night, saying this track has tamed me. I'm struggling.
Wallace going to stay out even longer. I'm surprised how far Brandon Wallace has been able to stretch this fuel.
Yeah, I am definitely a little bit surprised by it as well. I mean, this is even longer than the guys who I thought were staying out long stayed out. I think this time he's going to finally have to come down to pit lane. Last time he was down was lap 35 or so.
Oh boy. Hold on to it. There we go.
These cycles have really spread things out. There's a few battles here and there, but there are still cars kind of all over this racetrack right now.
With the move on pit road, the 3 car of Andrew Telganoff. He's got about 2 laps disadvantage on tires compared to Dakota Floyd, but he has cycled out to the 2nd position.
Track position is pretty important, though. Just having that advantage arrow-wise over the 57 could keep the 3 in that spot. Tires matter. Even 1 lap difference makes a difference at a track like Darlington, but just being able to put that dirty air on the 57's nose could keep him in that spot. And these drivers are gone. I mean, there's no competition behind him. Next closest is Josh Adams, who's on a completely different strategy. And then after that, it's Banks, who's 7 seconds back.
All the different pit cycles and strategies. You have 20 laps on the stint for Josh Adams, 9 laps on the stint for Joshua Banks. Then you have Andrew Telganoff, 12 laps into his run, 31 laps in for Bryce Calusa, probably committed to a 2-stopper to the end of this thing. Bailey Turner ran out there for quite a ways. He's back to 8th position. All of these different stints, but it's pretty concentrated in the single digits right now. Last pit lap on the left-hand side of your screen.
Another thing we could see in single digits is drivers lead lap by the end of this. We only have 13 lead lap cars. Christopher Hodges not too long ago went that 1 lap down. He's the first driver behind Jeff Wright. Wright has a lot of ground in front of him to get to Seth Hatchell, who's 13th, but it's crazy what a difference makes when you lose that track position. Hatchell was leading the race at the beginning, but, you know, he got the speeding penalty, fought back to whatever, And yes, he stayed out long, but now he's the last driver on the lead lap after everything that's happened.
Well, we didn't get a chance to do it earlier because of pit stops. We're going to try to do it now. Find those volume knobs, the remote controls. Let's piss off your neighbors. Let's get a noise complaint here on VSPEED. It's Get Loud, presented by FireStorm Racing.
Ripped the right front, I think, from 7th.
Was Get Loud, presented by FireStorm Racing, another one of the sponsors here at Saturday Night Racing League. And Connor, he's gone. 9.2 seconds ahead.
I think it's an understatement. It's just
Brian
not even
Chambliss
close.
in the chat. I don't know if you've reading any of that while we were getting loud, but said SNR competition director is on top of the box telling Jeff's crew chief to not stink up the show.
Well, spin, turn 2. Josh Adams just spun in the middle of the corner, and Seth Hatchell got involved.
This is the yellow. There's the competition caution, and Jeff Wright just sneaks through it. Brian Chambliss' fault this time.
I don't know about that, but that's a shame for Hatchell. Speeding penalty, you could argue, kind of put him in that position. Now he's He and Josh Adams both got totaled cars. Josh Adams' season of tough season continues, and there's just nowhere for Hatchell to go. When there's a crash in the middle of the corners here, I mean, where do you go? You see right here, Kibbe gets to the inside. Adams already off the pace, like he hit the wall maybe. Baklava gets to the inside. No contact, but I don't know, aero situation. Adams just lost it. And Hatchell, there's nowhere he could go at that point. This is only going to leave about 10 drivers lead lap because 2 of the 12 got wiped out. Josh Adams stopped it on the track, so he's done. Yeah, he just lost it, and Hatchell, it's a split-second decision. He can turn it left, and if Adams stays down there, he clobbers him, or if he stays up on the track and hope he stays down there, and still a possibility he comes back up. I mean, it's one of the toughest tracks to miss a crash in the middle of the corner, if not the toughest. And you can see right there, Adams just lost it.
Yeah, he just got into the wall in 4. But who is this that sneaks through in between?
Ryan Carlisle, right there. And then Butler get there. Here comes the leader. There's all the lead lap cars will pit. And there's I guess there's 11 of them because Seth Hatchell got back going. But he's still showing him a lap down. Also, when we were doing Get Loud, Bryce Calusa saw him hit the outside wall. He's retired from the race. If you're going to talk about attrition at a racetrack, Darlington's probably a track where you get the most attrition, and we're seeing that tonight. We're down about 8 to 9 drivers now, maybe even 10.
Well, I mentioned there that it was Brian Chambliss's fault. The end of that message that he sent with the directors on the box, he said, otherwise there will be a debris caution.
I'm sure Seth Hatchell and Josh Adams were wishing it was a debris caution. Dakota Floyd's going to get second from Telganoff on pit lane. Banks is 4th. This is a reset he needed. Maybe try to get back in contention, fight the 48. Also, one thing you noticed, the sun's kind of gone. Went over the wall in turns 3 and 4. His track should probably start cooling off big time at some point. It's 92 degrees. Last we saw it was 96, and it's only going to get cooler. Trying to note how many cars we've lost now. We lost Farada, Lehman, Chad Klinger, Ben Lafter, Joes McWhorter, Philip Brewer's called it a night. Donnie Kite's still running, 12 laps down. Bryce Calusa's out, and Josh Adams is now out, and Seth Hatchell's now out. So 1, 2, 3, about 9. We're down 9 of the 29 that started tonight.
Take a look at the schedule here up on your screen. These are the last 3 races of the regular season. Chicagoland and Martinsville, the last there before the chase at Kansas. You're looking all the way to December for the championship at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I hope that that's the legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yes, okay. It is. I bet drivers are probably happier that the final 3 races of the season aren't these 3 races. Darlington, Chicago, and Martinsville. That is a tough 3-race stretch to get to the chase. And then you got to go to Kansas, Richmond. You have to survive Dega. And then Nashville and Atlanta. It's a tough stretch. Here comes the half of the field that we still have getting ready to go back green. It's going to be about 24 laps to the end.
There we go for another restart. Jeff Wright, Dakota Floyd, Andrew Toganoff, Joshua Banks, and Angela Hronis. Green flag back underway at Darlington. Jeff Wright wasting no time to take out a half a second lead, just 1 lap.
He's just hoping it goes green. I think if it goes green, no one can touch him. It's just getting yellows and having tire lotteries that could rip this race away from him. There's car to the apron. I think Brandon Wallace and Caleb Weekly had some contact, but they kept it straight.
Weekly in the wall, coming off of 4.
Not over yet. Almost contacted Christopher Hodges. A lot of drivers back there took wave around, so now we're back up to 18 lead lap cars, but about 7 of them, as there's all kinds of cars in the wall after turn 2.
Yeah,
a bunch
Floyd,
of them have older tires.
Floyd led the way there for all those cars that hit the wall, and it was Talganoff, Banks also tagging it there.
It's tough. You think the driver in front of you knows what they're doing, then they hit the wall, then you hit the wall, and the 3 people behind you will hit the wall. It happens more often than you think, especially here.
Tunnel vision.
If you're right behind someone here, you can't see it when you're right behind someone. And if you have HDR on, you can't really see out of turn 2 right now because that sun didn't go behind the wall. It really went just behind a cloud. It's still out there, and I think right now it should be really hurting you out of turn number 2 especially.
Well, let's take a look on board here.
Down the back will probably be tough as well. Really right here will be at its worst. It's not too bad right now, actually.
This is on-board cameras with Dakota Floyd. See if we can get one more look at it. Half a second back from Jeff Wright. This is the roof camera. We're going to get a really good look at the sun.
Wright, Floyd, Telganoff, Banks, and Turner the top 5. Kibbe lost 7th to J.R. Shepard. Right there, yeah. That gives you a better view. Really, turn 2, in the middle of turn 2, right when you're about to start coming down the racetrack. That looks to be where it's at its worst right now.
Banks not able to get around the 3 car. Looking at a podium finish here for Andrew Talganoff. Bailey Turner in 5th position, holding that points lead. There's something else that we didn't talk too much about, but there's a look at the points again. When we're talking about the schedule, Jeff Wright 47 points back, looking to lead the most laps here today. And Turner in 5th. It won't be a huge jump, but we're in this chase format where regular season bonus points, you get 10 bonus points for being the regular season champion, and then 3 bonus points on top of that for every win you had in the season. Jeff Wright, he's going to get probably equal points. If he adds another win, he could have the points lead going into Kansas.
Well, if you put 2 and 2 together, if Bailey Turner doesn't win that regular season title, can't hold on to that points lead before we get to the chase, it's going to be really tough to beat Jeff Wright. Even if he has one bad race, he might have, if he wins all these races and the regular season title, it's going to be tough to catch him. So Bailey Turner, all he can do is just stay consistent in the top 5, and I think if he could just do that the next races, 2 after tonight, if he could just get some top 5s, there's nothing Jeff Wright can do to pass him in points, as long as he just does that. But then you still got to figure out how you beat him in those 5 races. Dakota Floyd's trying to figure out how to beat him tonight. He was kind of matching his times, kind of like what we saw in the previous short run we saw.
There's the last lap times on the left-hand side. It's still an advantage. It's not much, but, 300s there, 300s there. That equals up to gain, and eventually into the sunset.
Got Telganoff just a touch faster. Kenny Kibbe. Looks like Nick Hapiak and him will battle for 8th. Kibbe, he's got that front end damage, and he just has not had any opportunity to fix it because he has track position he has to keep. He's been able to stay top 10 with it.
A solid day, a recovery. Elliott Butler, remember, he was sideways at one point in this race. This Taco Bell 16 was outside of the top 10. Now riding in 10th with less than 20 to go. Perfect opportunity to salvage the day.
No, he's 12 laps down, but right behind him on track is Donnie Kite, who, even though he's 12 laps down, he's set for a top 20 finish, which I think he might take after how much damage we saw him have.
Seth Hatchell, Josh Adams, Bryce Calusa, Philip Brewer. You have Joseph McWhorter, our previous season champion in season number 3. Ben Laughter, Chad Klinger, race winner here in the regular season. James Lehman, who's been bad fast. He was in the top 5 another night. Deja Vu, and Nathan Ferrata in the 07. all out of this race. 20 cars still on the racetrack, and Donnie Kite having handling issues.
It's not getting easier to drive, in case you thought that. It is still very tough to drive even when the track does cool off. And it really hasn't cooled off. It stayed at 92. And part of that is, even though it might be cooling down the ambient temp, it's down to 84, but you have all these cars running around the track. It's going to keep that track heated. If we get a yellow, you're going to see that track temp drop probably into the high 80s.
2 cautions, 4 lead changes. Jeff Wright has dominated the second half of this race, and this one has went by fast. 11 laps left.
The real battle is probably going to be for second. I think Telganoff is a little bit faster than Dakota Floyd. He just can't find a way to break through that air bubble and have a shot at passing him right now. And even Banks could be a little faster than both of them, but he hasn't shown it quite yet.
Well, if I know one thing that's been consistent all season long, it's that 35 car finding his way to a podium finish. He might not even be a factor in the race for the first 3/4 of it, and suddenly, with 25, 30 to go, he's in a prime spot to even go win it.
Now he's found himself third in points. He has the 3rd most top 5s in the series, which is funny because he has the 2nd most top 5s in the series. He has the 3rd most top 10s in the series, tied with Jeff Wright, and that's that, funny enough.
On board with Joshua Banks, under 10 to go from Darlington. There's 2 races and 8 laps left here in the regular season. And Banks is loose off of 2.
Ooh, Horonis at the wall. Was just about to mention he's been having a good run, but trying to get that top 5 away from Bailey Turner, but he's going to drop a spot to J.R. Shepard. But you can see Banks still trying to go to work, trying to get those spots. Just can't quite close in as Horonis fell back to that 7th spot. Good night for J.R. Shepard.
17 spots gained. You were saying we were going to take the award away from him. I think he's earned it even more. He was up 10 the last time we talked about it. Now he's up even more than that.
17. Christopher Hodge is the only one in contention. Actually, not the only one. Brandon Wallace is up 15. Pretty darn close. Had a lot of bigger movers because a lot of drivers who started up at the front have fallen out of the race. 3 of the drivers who started in the top 6 are out of the race right now. Hatchell, Klinger, Lehman, and Ferrata all done.
That's why they call it the track too tough to tame, Connor.
That would make sense. If there's anyone who's tamed it, it's Jeff Wright. Past 2 races. Remember, season 3, he led all but 3 laps.
It can come out to bite you, though. And the trend here this season has been late race cautions that throw this race into a green-white checkered. We've seen quite a few of those so far in just 10 races. Statistically, we have a 64% chance that we're going to see it.
I think Jeff Wright would say there's a 100% chance the 48's going to victory lane, but that's never the case, especially when you still have battles inside the top 5 and top 10 going on. Kenny Kibbe, he's kind of been right in front of Nick Hapiak this entire 20-lap run. Hapiak just can't find a way to get around him. Actually, the best run he has out of turn number 4 for that spot, and Kibbe just gave it to him.
5 to go. Shuffle for 8th position. Hapiak in the 06. Go back to Elliott Butler in 10th. Chris Hodges hanging on mid-pack. 11th position for the 15. Boy, a quick focus in on this car as it hits the outside wall.
There's a good battle for 5th brewing. Bailey Turner's trying to hold on, but J.R. Shepard has got a great run out of turn number 4. Turner's going to try to battle it, though. He's 5 to go. The give and take is out the window at this point. It's everything you can get. But you can see how much slower those 2 are when they do that. But at this point, you got to go.
And look to the inside again.
Jeff Wright would see this. He'd be like, just give and take. Give the spot up, Bailey. I don't want to restart, but Turner's struggling right now. But if he could just get a good enough run in the 1 on the outside every time, Shepard won't be able to slide up and take that spot unless there's contact, which there is a little contact.
Touching the doors with 3 laps to go out of turn 2. Turner's still not giving up on it.
Here comes Hapiak. He's in the fight now, but Shepard's got it this time. But you'll see Turney's going to try to pack some air on J.R. Shepard. Angel Rones is actually going to use the wall through 3 and 4 and stay to the outside of Bailey Turner doing that as they come to 2 to go.
This battle for the 6th position. Hronis on the outside. Hapiak going to look left. And he has Kenny Kibbe on the back bumper.
Jeff Wright's hustling. He's trying to get to that start-finish line, take the white flag, because there's something brewing back there.
He's out of turn 4. One
Now
more
he's
time
coming to
around.
go. He is. Yeah, it is white flag. I was looking at Caleb Wheatley. 1 to go.
There is the 48 of Jeff Wright.
Oh! Sorry, contact for that spot. This
They're
guy's
still
dominating.
fighting. It's another great race for Jeff Wright. He's going to add his 5th win of the season.
Oh, Turner got put in the wall out of 2. Big crash.
But it's white flag in the air, and Jeff Wright loves that happened here. He's going to get it. He's going to gain a lot of points. Bailey Turner all the way back to 15th, 16th position. Jeff Wright winning at Darlington. And the 24 is going to come across the line in 17th position.
Caleb Wheatley's going to get him right there. He might even cross the line 18th. You knew it was going to happen. At least I knew it was going to happen. You try to go side by side through there so many times. Out of 1, it can work. Out of turn 2, you're asking for it. And Hapiak just came up a little bit too far as Turner's going to lose very crucial points. Lost about 10 points in that crash. But this guy, no doubt he's a championship favorite.
Post-race interviews with your top 3. Those final race results coming up in just a moment's time. Jeff Wright repeats at Darlington. 5th win on the season. And it's a big points gain here on Bailey Turner with 2 races left. Back with more of the Saturday Night Racing League in just a moment's time.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Welcome back live to our post-race coverage of the Saturday Night Racing League. We're going to have to go back and take a look at the finish of this race. Here's a look at this final lap and the incident that the 24 Bailey Turner was involved in. You see the side-by-side with Happy Act at 14 at Kibbe.
And they hit there. And then I saw it coming. I saw it brewing. They try side-by-side at a 2. It's hard to make it work. And right there, they make some contact. And Turner, you don't have room to correct it because the wall comes up in a hurry. And Kenny Kibbe, he had nowhere to go, got caught up in that mess. Initially, I thought Happy Act was far up the racetrack, but he wasn't too terribly far off the dotted line. You can't really cut that apron out of turn 2 while on iRacing without getting sideways. You can see Turner had to wait to get going, lost all those spots, but that's just kind of a product of when you try to go side by side, you're racing for position at a 2, and you're not going to give an inch. It's going to happen. It's just a product of the racing, really.
Jeff Wright happy that didn't happen earlier.
Yeah, I bet.
But anyway, we got to go back to our post-race results here. Let's bring that up on the screen. The race recap on the top. 2 cautions, 4 lead changes. It stayed the same from the last time we reviewed it. And there's Jeff Wright with the victory. Dakota, Floyd, Andrew Toganoff, the top 3. We'll get a word with those drivers in just a moment's time. Then you have Joshua Banks with another top 5 finish. J.R. Shepard, he's going to finish in 5th. Angela Horonis, Nick Hapiak, Elliott Butler. Then you go back to Kenny Kibbe and Chris Hodges with another top 10 here tonight.
Great top 10s, Butler and Hodges. They really needed good finishes tonight. Ryan Carlisle, 11th. Brendan Wallace, 12th. He's up 16 spots. A good night for him to get through the field. Ray Massey, 13th. Broderick Vaclavic, his return to a series. First time I've seen him in a series in a while. 14th. Matt Shinosky, 15th. Lakatis, who was a lap down at one point, recovered for 16th. Caleb Weekly, 17th. Bailey Turner, who we saw get spun out of 7th. He loses roughly 11 points in that deal. That could be crucial in the last 2. 18th for him. Then Chuck Sweeting and Donnie Kite rounding out the top 20. And how about Kite? Like I mentioned, 12 laps down, he's able to stick it out for a top 20.
21st spot, Seth Hatchell, who dominated the first quarter of this race, and even more than that. I think he got about 40 laps led. He's going to finish in 21st spot. Josh Adams, 28 laps down. All these cars off the racetrack with Bryce Calusa, Philip Brewer, Joseph McWhorter in 25th. You have Ben Latter in 26th position. The bad luck continues for Chad Klinger and James Lehman. They're going to finish 27th and 28th. And Nathan Ferrata in the 07. It's a tough break for a lot of people that started in the top 5. Top 10, rather.
3 of the top, like I said, 3 of the top 6 right there, bottom 3. Chad Klinger is going to get 27th, but he didn't even make it out of turn number 2 without an issue, really. And Lehman and Ferrata had their own set of issues. And feel bad for Hatchell. If it had not been for that speeding penalty, could have been in contention for the win. Would have came out second, but could have been at least in the top 3. Ends up crashed.
So now it's time to move on to our post-race coverage with the interviews of your top 3. And the first driver that we're going to bring into the broadcast booth is your race winner, Jeff Wright, in the number 48. 5th win on the season. You dominated here last year. 103 out of the 140 that we ran here tonight. Jeff Wright, what is so special about this racetrack for this 48 team?
Yeah, man, I'm not super sure. I mean, this is a track I used to not like, and now I really enjoy coming here. So I think just, learning from guys that have been really good here in the past. I've been able to race, guys like Adam Cabot, Seth Hatchell, Andrew Telganoff really has given me a lot of tips here over the years, and I've gotten better. And obviously clean air and track position goes a long ways as well. So that certainly helps. We were able to get a really good pit stop. And also I think, two of the front runners, Seth, Josh, maybe somebody else, they had pit lane speeding penalties, and that gifted us the lead. And I couldn't believe it because that first run, I knew we're going to have to pass Seth or Banks to win this race. And that's, hard to do in itself, let alone at Darlington where the track is so narrow. So once we got the clean air, we got the lead, I felt really confident. But yeah, this place has become really fun over the years. Just you have to learn how to drive it. And it took me a long time to learn how to do that correctly with the help of some people. And feel pretty confident now, and awesome to get another win.
Well, you go back, like you said, to the beginning of this race where Seth Hatchell pulls out probably 2.5, I think 3 seconds was the margin roughly. Dakota Floyd had mistakes there at the beginning. You started back in 7th position. Knowing that, and knowing that it's a racetrack tough to pass at, how do you approach the first half of this race? And maybe pit stops during green flag was your mentality instead of those speeding penalties.
Yeah, out of the get-go, it's just, take care of your stuff, especially, starting, 7th, we had some cars to pass out of the gate, and, just pick them off one by one, but, not push the issue, not overdrive the car. Don't burn the tires off, because if you do that at Darlington, you're going to pay, and you're going to pay worse here than any other track just because the tire wear is so high. So it's just kind of about, finding a rhythm that works for you, and and then hope to be there on the long run. And then, that first run, we were able to kind of reel in Seth and Josh a little bit. And then I felt pretty good. But then after the pit stop, I didn't even have to pass them because of their penalties. And so then things got a lot easier from there. Then it was just kind of more of the same, just, run the pace I had been running, try not to burn the stuff off, and let the clean air be an advantage for me. And it was fun to get green flag pit stops tonight. Have a long run like that. Late race cautions happen, but thankfully nothing too late to where nothing crazy happened, and we could retain the lead and go out there and get the win. So just a super fun race, and awesome to go back to back. I feel like I hadn't done that in a really, really long time. So maybe back to like season 1. So that's kind of cool as well.
Well, it is going to be another victory on the season. And with Bailey Turner having the problem at the end of the race there and finishing in 18th position, this helps you in the points tremendously, Jeff. I think that 47 points coming into tonight will be shaved down a little bit, and it might even help you even more on the reset. But Jeff, your biggest fan, Brian Chambliss, wants to hear who you have to shout out for this victory here tonight.
Yeah, first off, just thank all of our sponsors, our partners that make this thing happen. We couldn't do it without their financial support. So M&J Distributors, with Joshua Banks being so generous and being our title sponsor, that's huge, and it makes operating the league along with all the other co-admins so much easier to have that financial support. So big thanks to M&J Distributors, our title sponsor, and then everybody else that pitches in: Clark Print Shop, Walk and Roll Costumes, 29 Graphics, FireStorm Racing, Juicy Spider Studios. It really takes a lot of partners to be able to run a league like this and have quality broadcasts like VSPEED with us. So big thanks to all of them. And obviously the broadcast booth. Say it every time I get to talk to you guys. You and Connor Bradley, best in the business. And you guys put on an excellent show, excellent production. And we're just super fortunate to have you guys. And then, naming off all the other co-league admins, Brian Chambliss in the chat you mentioned, Reggie Ortega, Chad Klinger. They do a lot for our league. I feel like, Chad and I, we get recognition a lot, but Reggie, Brian, they're doing just as much behind the scenes. So I want to make sure they get those shout outs as well.
We appreciate you coming up here for the 5th time this season and shaping up here. Doesn't change my mind about having a repeat winner of the overall championship, but it does change my mind about who it might be. Congratulations again, Jeff, and we'll see you next week at Chicagoland.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Jeff Wright in the number 48, victorious, 103 laps led, and you could chalk that up to a dominant performance. Maybe not like what we saw there in season 2 when we last came here, but it's right up there with it. And, learning about, Adam Cabot, teaching him some things, and Jeff obviously putting it to play here. Adam Cabot not being here, I don't know if that would have been a factor or not. Concrete Cabot is definitely good here. But Jeff wasn't a factor in the first third of this race. I think a lot of things had to happen. That perfect storm happened to put him in a better position, Connor, and sometimes that's what races are dictated by.
He was definitely a little bit fortunate. He was third on the first run of the race. We got that yellow, and then not only did he win the race off pit road, went third to first. The drivers he was behind ended up speeding on pit lane. So, definitely things went his way, but even then, there was no one that could challenge him. He did not have a single driver who could battle him for the lead to the end of the race after he got it.
Now that you're down on pit road, you've caught up with our second place finisher, Dakota Floyd, in the 57. How about the comeback for him to put his car back on the podium?
I do have Dakota, and it was a little bit of a struggle for you, Dakota. You started up in the third position, almost got into the 0-9. Then you kind of faded on that first run. We got that first yellow. You ended up getting back up to the top 3, and you never looked back and came up second. How do you rate your run tonight after kind of a back and forth early?
It was amazing. I'm just happy to finally finish where I started a race for once. We've had a long season of problems and getting wrecked, so I'm more than happy to finally put it on the podium here this season.
That's exactly what you did. Put it on the podium tonight, 18th in points. Chase not out of consideration, but it'll definitely take a little bit. But you had a good run. Once you got back up into the top 2, you're able to follow Jeff and maybe able to learn a few things from him, but ultimately he still won. Do you think there was anything else you could learn or figure out to try to beat that 48?
I don't know. I definitely had learned something after the first run. I would think I was just underdriving the car too much in that first stretch when those guys drove away from me, and was luckily able to get up to P2 after those guys got some pit road penalties. And like I said, I figured out I was just underdriving it, so I started driving the car harder on both sides of the track to get on the right front. But I don't think there was quite anything I could do differently. Jeff was just super consistent tonight, and it was hard to even just keep him in the same zip code.
I was trying to check out for sure, and you said you were underdriving it, trying to drive it on the right front more. What was, besides that, as far as this track is concerned, what was and is the toughest challenge about this track? Because we see so many drivers struggle with it, I struggle with it, and it's just a tough place to get around. So what did you have to figure out the most?
I just had to figure out how to keep the car on edge without crossing that line. And especially in turns 1 and 2 with the car as loose as it was super easy to get the right rear into the wall, and it would just suck you right in. So you just had to figure out how to, like I said, keep it on edge and just keep it out of the wall tonight.
Really good job of doing that. Pretty much a spotless 57 car. So congratulations on that. That's hard to do at Darlington for anyone. You get a second place out of a good points day for you. Anyone else you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, definitely got to shout out the team. I hate to see James race and the way it did. I know he spun and didn't get a yellow and had some damage, had a little bit of damage on his car. So I hate to see that for him. He's fast every week. So, but it's always fun running with him. We always learn stuff from each other there. And thanks to everyone in the league. It was a phenomenal race at Darlington. I think everyone was really good about the give and take tonight, and it made out for a great race. I think it's the best race of the season. So shout out to everybody, and shout out to the admins and the league themselves for giving us an awesome place to race every week. I love racing. I love coming back and racing here, no matter how frustrating the season has been. I look forward to racing here and just learning everything I can. Thanks to you guys in VSPEED for always putting on amazing broadcasts, fantastic shows to go back and watch. And thanks to all the sponsors of the series, and thank you to everyone who supports me.
Your first back-to-back top 10s of a season, your second top 5 of the season, and not only that, you find yourself only 18 points unofficially out of the top 12 cut off for the chase. So congrats on that, Dakota. With 2 races to go, you're right in the hunt. Good luck. Thanks for talking to us, and maybe we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night.
You too. Yeah, looking at the points, Bradley, I didn't even notice that until I saw it. They are updated. They are unofficial, but he gained 5 places in the points tonight, and he's right behind that chase cut line.
Yep. A lot of things change in a short amount of time. I think right now, the way it sits, You've got probably 7, 8 different cars that could be in or out of the chase format before it's all said and done. And with 2 races left, anything can happen. Chicagoland, of course, and then Martinsville. That's an asterisk right there. Anything can happen at that racetrack. You could probably compare it to a Daytona or Talladega.
It's not gonna, I don't think a lot of drivers are going to have a lot of fun if they're on the cut line, but it will definitely be fun for us. The last time Gen 4 went there, it was chaotic, and I think it was Travato who took the checkered flag, and it was chaos, and we're probably gearing up for more chaos once we get there.
Well, it's time to talk to your final podium finisher, Andrew Toganoff, in the number 3. Andy, I know that this one has been a long time coming. Getting you up here in the broadcast booth, you ran a solid race. That was a number 3 car that we haven't seen in a while. You did a fantastic job, and I know that this is one of those racetracks that a lot of drivers dread coming to. It looked like you were comfortable tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely, if not my favorite track. It is a driver's track, as many would say. But no, we just wanted to be able to get the long runs in. We did. I think we started 7th or 8th. We got through people. It's all about just hitting your marks and staying off the wall. Congrats to Jeff, first of all. I just want to say that, get that off there. Good run for Dakota. And yeah, it's been a rough year. That's our 6th start and our first time we finished a cup race. And that's how we did. We got a podium. So awesome job. Good race. Everybody did a really good job. Just that caution there with 30 to go, man. I thought that was going to be the dagger, because you know how these races have been going, but it didn't go that way. So it was a fun race, and again, congrats to Jeff.
Well, Andrew, you sound exhausted. How technical and how difficult is it to get around this place? I know that a lot of people wore themselves out in the first 40 laps, and we saw that with some of the guys that started in the top 10. 3 out of the top 6, or 4 out of the top 6 didn't even finish the race.
Yeah, you really gotta. You gotta take care of, all 4 tires, but you just gotta hit your marks. You gotta lift early. You gotta roll it. You gotta be easy on the throttle transition. There's a lot of critique to this track, but yeah, I am wore out. But it's I got nothing else to say, man. I'm really, really happy we came home 3rd place. I'm not prepared for this interview. I wasn't. But we just did what we had to do. And I hope this is a sign for good things to come. If we can finish the races and these guys quit wrecking in the last 15, 20 laps, I think we'll be all right.
Andrew, I know what it is. You're sober. It's time to go post-race with you, and I'm sure we'll get some words.
We're a few deep, but hey, man, like I said, man, it doesn't matter if you're drinking or you're not, man. If you got a knack for a track, you're going to hit your marks, and it's just going to come natural. But yeah, it's an honor to be up here being interviewed by you, Bradley. It really is, man. I'm just really, really happy, and we're going to keep drinking on to the night, maybe go get some other races in here, and who knows, maybe race some hell.
Andrew, we appreciate you coming into the broadcast booth, and I said, long time coming, rough season, 6th start, 3rd place. Anybody you want to shout out real quick before we let you go?
Everybody that makes this happen, from you guys up here, Bradley, Connor, to the boys that run it, Jeff, Chad, Reggie, Brian, everybody that makes this happen, and definitely the drivers. You guys really make this league what it is. It's fun. It's tough. It's rough. The shit pisses you off at times, but if you just keep thriving and don't give up, the results will show, and they did tonight.
The sentimental side of Andrew Toganoff. Never heard it before, but 3rd place finish. We appreciate you coming up here.
Thank you, boys.
There you have it. Top 3 interviews, all in the bag. Darlington is done. It's on to next week in just a moment's time. Connor, final thoughts before we let him go over to Chicagoland.
Bailey Turner better be a little bit worried about that points gap. Down unofficially to 25 points. He's got to be on his game. If you let Jeff Wright get even more bonus points on you heading into a 5-race chase, he's going to take that advantage and run with it. It takes a lot to blow a lead if you get that big of a points gap, and Jeff Wright's trying to build it right now with all these wins, and it's no doubt he's the guy to beat. He's definitely been the most consistent and fastest driver in the Gen 4 at every track we've been to. I don't see why that would change anytime soon, especially since he's got some good tracks in the chase. Kansas, he won at Richmond last season. The only outlier is Dega. Got to get through Dega, but that 48, there's no doubt he's the guy to beat.
Week 11, Chicagoland, November 1st, 7:45 p.m. Eastern for the Challenger Series, 10 p.m. Eastern for the Cup. Chicagoland, wide, fast, mile-and-a-half oval. I think right now in Juliet, they're thanking God it's back on the Cup schedule. I'm thanking it. I think right now this is probably the most excitement I've had for any announcement. We're going to go back here in the real life, and we're going to go here. Again, that's going to be next Saturday, 7 days from now. You can catch it here live on VSPEED. Connor Horn, Bradley Cooper. Actually, Connor, you're going to have an off week there, so I gotta find somebody that can fill those statistics.
Yeah, Phoenix. You need someone else to be on the stats, I guess. I want to go to Chicagoland, but Phoenix will have to do.
Yep, last race of the season. I can't blame you. I can't blame you. But again, you can catch it all here on VSPEED. Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors. That's going to wrap it up here for us for this coverage from Darlington and North Wilkesboro. Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, my co-commentator, Connor Horn. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long. We'll see you next time, everybody. Stay tracking.